recognize speakers, and explain our procedures that we need to follow in addressing the board, and ask that you please silence your cell phones. As required by Montana law, members of the community are given an opportunity to make brief comments to the board on any matters not included in the agenda. Individuals wishing to be heard shall first be recognized by the chairperson. Individuals, after identifying themselves, will proceed to make brief comments. The board would like to remind everyone that to avoid violations of individual rights of privacy, a member of the public wishing to address the board will not be allowed to make comments about any student, staff member, or member of the general public. No action may be taken on any matter discussed during the public comment portion of the meeting until such time as the matter is specifically noticed on the agenda, and the public has been allowed the opportunity to comment. Is there any public comment at this time? If there is no public comment, we will move into our new business.
Do we have a motion?
Do we have a motion for the first new business item, canvass results for November 4th, 2025 bond election?
Motion to approve the results from the November 4th, 2025 bond election as follows. 2356 votes for and 3933 votes against question one, whereas there were 2,081 votes for and 4,214 votes against question two, therefore not receiving voter approval for either question.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any public comment? Comes back to the board. Are you sure you don't have public comment?
She's got a comment. We don't want it.
Okay.
We agree though.
Do we have any? I think we all know. Frank's like, oh boy. Okay, I said we can vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Twice.
Rebel.
So
Motion carries.
motion carries. I don't know the number. 1, 2, 3, 5.
5-1.
5-1. All right. Item number 2, discussion of the future of the 4th elementary school.
All right. So we can organize this or not organize it in any way you want. If there's specific, if we want to kind of talk about, I sent out some questions to think about, if we want to talk through those, or if we just want to start by having people say, I think that, the big idea here is to have a chance to talk and not make any decisions about where do we go next? What is our next step related to what we put out there for the bonds and the 4th elementary school in connection to the bigger goals of the district and the voice of the people and what you're hearing in the community and things like that. So does anyone have a preference on?
I think we just go with like some open discussion.
Okay.
Start from there. Maybe let's talk about what we heard in the community. There was a lot of confusion. People really did not know what they were voting on. And that's not for a lack of getting information out. People also did not understand what the cost would be. Again, that's not for a lack of getting information out. Walt and I kind of had a brief conversation about this. We don't know how to, I mean, you can, we had canvassing. There was 66 different outreach moments, not including the individual canvassing that was done by the various members of this board. And I am honestly not sure how we move forward, knowing that information. I think both Walt and I spent some time reading feedback on various news articles.
I think that I want to slap the media because what they were saying and what we were, what was the truth were
Two
two
different
separate
things, yeah.
things. You know, first thing I want to do is I want to thank Dee Dee for, you know,
Yeah.
her countless hours and all the board members. For Scott especially, I've seen Scott out there for, that guy's probably got as many hours as the rest of us combined tied into this. And I just want to thank everybody for their hard work and, you know, it sucks, but you know, we tried. Um, no, there was like you said, there's a lot of confusion. A lot of people are sitting here. I mean, they think that every bond we put out there passes. So now they're just seeing, oh, well, they just got 63 million or whatever that number was. And I'm going, no, that didn't pass. We came back, you know, whittled it down to what we absolutely need. And then we're back to where we were. You know, this is what bare minimum, but it just, yeah, people had preconceived notions. They thought everything else had passed. A lot of the media, especially if you don't read the body of the story and just read the headlines, some of those headlines were atrociously misleading. I don't think we're in a budget shortfall and, you know, I'm pretty sure that, I can't even remember the other ones. It's like,
Well, people don't understand the difference between levies and bonds.
Yeah.
And they don't understand
Yeah,
why
yeah.
we haven't been given significant raises to our teachers, but don't understand that when we don't pass levies, we can't do that.
yeah,
You know, that this bond is a completely different, you know.
issue.
Animal.
Yeah, it's a completely different animal. I thought our messaging was really clear. I think the problem is kind of that, you know, you can lead a horse to water type scenario. I don't know how to, you know, that in the age of social media, I think unfortunately people want tins. I don't like, part of me is like, do we need to start like making reels and TikToks? Like seriously, no, I'm serious because people won't read the information and if we can feed them to it, them like in some sort of video where we're all talking about it. I think I mean, I truly and honestly, I mean this because people watch videos and they watch, you know, you can put reels on Facebook. I think that may be a way to approach this type of thing so that we can have like 30-second snippets of, you know, what's a bond, what's a levy, you know, why can we not, you know, why, how can we be pursuing building another school if we didn't give teachers raises, you know, like, and I created a spreadsheet of all of those questions because I saw the same ones over again and it was clear that, and then people did not understand the two things they were voting on, the difference between like the school and the gym and why we did it that way. They sort of thought we were building some massive, I think like the Mac Center in Butte, those of you who know what the Mac Center in Butte is, right? It's a very large standalone gym. I think they thought we were building that. And I don't know how we approach this. I really,
Jim's probably a lot of they put on.
you know,
Because it drew a lot of issues with a number of people for the exact reason you mentioned. And just the fact that
they didn't understand it.
they didn't really see the value.
Yeah, they didn't understand that it's that that we're building a school with a multi-use and not a gym. But the people who have their kids in sports understand that we are gym short. You know, the fight for gym time is real. So the question is, and you know, obviously on the ballots, we cannot put, you know, a bunch of extra language. So the question for these types of things in the future is, again, I think we've done the things we normally do, but I think in today's day and age, we might have to approach it different. I think people's, their attention spans just not wanting to read and ask those questions. I think it needs to be like fed very easily.
I also mentioned to Dee Dee that maybe we should try to do something in the Belgrade News every week. Have a little Belgrade Schools corner.
Something.
And
yeah.
something to the fact that, you know, whether it's, again, we could even do the definition of this and this. And I think another thing that people don't understand, and we ran into this when we were campaigning, is they do not understand school funding at all.
Nope.
That the state gives us so much money and that our community is responsible for so much money. When I was canvassing my neighborhood, I visited with a number of people. And the other complaint that I felt like I heard or read And I don't know where it comes from, but that we are wasting money.
Yeah. And to that, I said multiple times, our budget, when we have our budget meetings, our budget is online. You
Yeah.
can look for every single pin we purchase, it's all there.
Well,
Um,
I asked one lady to please come and speak at a board meeting and tell us the areas where we were failing because we would certainly do our best to address those.
And the other thing is the big one too, like you said, I saw a lot, is that since people's taxes went so high, they said, well, they're sort of under the idea that all property taxes go to the schools. They don't understand that it doesn't matter if 100 million was collected, our budget, if it's 100,000, we get 80,000,
Mhm.
They do not understand Montana school funding, especially people who come from other states.
I think
And-
some of that has to do with how our tax bills are written out.
Some of it, yeah, but
A lot of it, you'll go and look at it and it, I mean, it says Belgrade Elementary, Belgrade High School, and,
All
and
the levies supposed to,
it's got
Yeah.
all the levies,
the
all
last, what,
Yeah.
years.
levies, bonds, it's got all that, it's got, and then it's got, transportation, and it's got multiple things, but they're all listed as Belgrade. And I'm not convinced all that money, for the way it's been explained to me, is coming here. It's just that that's the way it's written on our tax bill. And so therefore it's misleading because, that money's going up to the state pot, not staying close. But yet people, think that it's coming, to our coffers and wondering why it is that, they're paying whatever it is. But yeah, if you look at it, I mean, depending on where you live, if you don't live in the city of Belgrade, Joanne, yours is probably the same. It might be better than half of your tax bill as actually tagged to the school. If you live in the city, I think, the city, the proportion of it, because there's other city taxes, makes it look smaller. But I think, yeah, if you live outside of the city of Belgrade, it might be over 50% keyed to
Yeah,
the
it was-
schools.
I was
Whether or not
looking-
it comes to Belgrade schools is a different animal.
Yeah, I was looking right now, like it's got, countywide elementary school retirement, countywide high school retirement, countywide high school transportation, and then Belgrade General, Belgrade Elementary Building Reserve, Elementary Bus. Yeah, I mean, you can see it and people just don't understand what it means.
Well, and I also think people were surprised when they got their tax bill.
Yeah.
That it actually had gone down and they just didn't realize that they're,
No, and even though we had tried to tell them that.
Right.
And I kept telling them, our other bond is expired or is paid off in
Mm.
June or in,
Mhm.
yeah, it was June,
Yeah,
I
we
think.
did too.
And so you actually, it's you kind of are net positive because this one was going to cost people maybe $9 to $10 a month. And that other one was larger, but people were, we're kind of in a bad time. People were angry about taxes last
Yeah.
years. Yeah,
Mhm.
Wow.
yeah.
That ain't stop.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the property taxes going down, I think people are still angry,
Yeah.
and,
The people that I've talked,
and I've tried so hard to tell them this is not the school. We don't get that money.
yeah. I don't think they trust what we're saying.
Yeah,
I
No.
don't think they trust.
I think that's,
Mhm.
And, we can't do anything about that piece.
Mm-mm.
All we can do is tell the story about where the money comes from and how much of that money we end up getting and how we spend it. And how, I think it's the one thing that is positive for us is that we're one of the only AA schools in the black
Mhm.
Yes.
that runs their business in black, which
Uh,
is a good indication that
Yeah.
we're frugal, that we're trying to do what we can.
Mhm.
The other part of that, though, quite frankly, is, our deferred maintenance number. I want to talk, so I'm not talking. The deferred maintenance number is a big number.
Mhm.
And, we're gonna be unable to do much of anything about it. That's only gonna get
Worse.
more difficult over time. I mean, I don't know what the number is. Leroy, I think it's 10 or $12 million, isn't it? Or maybe it's a little less than that now, but
Yeah.
somewhere in that range.
Yeah, it's more than what we have currently in the building reserve fund.
Significantly, yeah.
So You know, there's a lot of things people don't understand
No.
about the finances of schools.
Mm-mm. And I mean, I said, come to the budget meetings. There's, they're all open. The other thing is people talked a lot about, the building that what we did in the exchange and didn't understand that cost and why, that decision was made. They said, well, there's a perfectly good school. They don't realize, it's not, disability compliant. It's got a lot of issue, right? And they don't understand, again,
In order to bring that building up to snuff would have been more than to
build a new.
tear it
building.
down and build a new.
Yeah, and I tried to tell people that, and again, people just don't. And what's frustrating is nobody asks these questions in advance, right? And then they're like, oh, I didn't know that. And like, they don't realize, it's like, because for me as a parent, like one of the biggest feedback that I get from parents is how devastated they are because their third grader is now guaranteed to be in the junior high, and how, or the parents who've had that fifth grader in the junior high and how much they struggled by not having free time in a recess, how much they struggled with, just such a big change at such a very young age. So it seems to me that parents who voted for it. So when we're targeting, I think we have to target non-parents a lot heavier, because all of the parents of the grade schools were so disappointed because they said, we need a new gym. We really didn't want our fifth graders to be in a junior. I mean, even for me as a parent, knowing the feedback and knowing my children, it's a big question mark for me if my kids would go to junior high and fifth grade.
Oh, the thing is, we sit here and I don't think we're wrong when we ask these questions, we ask parents.
Mhm.
But then when we put it out to voters. And there's a lot of voters that don't have kids in school. There's a lot of voters that will, their kids are out and that won't have kids, single, whatever, however you want to slice it. But those people, they all get ballots, but they don't have any investment. And, I think you're right that we focus, and I'm not saying it's wrong that we focus a lot of our effort into parents and students because students are who we're here for. But yet, it's the community as a whole that we're, somehow they're not, they're not as, they're not sold on their schools. And like you say, they think we're, screwing this money away and doing something with it. And, maybe Dee Dee's got some home in Tahiti she hasn't told us about, but I don't think so. You know, but where, like you say, they don't trust us with handling the money and it's, so I guess the question is how do we, and yeah, I think messaging might be help, but how do we show the people, that we are trying to be as fiscally responsible with their taxpayers or with their tax dollars as we can, the best stewards we can of their tax dollars, while yet, providing the schools that A, the community wants, and B, the law requires.
The
I
other-
was struck
Go
by
ahead.
having spent a number of hours wandering our community. I was struck by how little the school board got credit for having cut the size of their request. And you dropped, what, 50 some odd million dollars, and it was like you didn't do anything. Actually, I had a couple of conversations where people said, well, why did they ask for all of that money last time if they only needed 6 million? And it was like you did something wrong rather than you tried to pare it down. The other thing I was struck by in the whole effort to engage the community, I think that often school boards make a mistake by sharing too much information because most of the community doesn't want all of that information, and so they don't end up prioritizing the most important stuff. So I was struck by how often we talked to people coming out of mostly Albertsons about moving fifth graders out of the middle school, and that was really important in their development and their education. And they seemed surprised by that. It was like, well, nobody's ever mentioned that before.
Mhm.
And I'm not, if we think about how to build a campaign, you did, in my opinion, a great job of managing the finance and the redesign of the project. I mean, I was amazed by how much you were able to strip out of and the idea of building half an elementary school, I've never heard of anything like that as a selling point. But I'm not sure that one of the principles in selling bond issues is sell one thing at a time.
Hmm.
Figure out what's the most important thing, which is easy to do because you just figure out why did I vote for it? And then that's what you sell. I'm not sure that the community heard that the most important thing is saving fifth graders from middle school.
Well, I think one of the other aspects of this that we all, I don't know how many were, or have been around, but our little building over there that needs all the repairs was called intermediate. And we had fourth, fifth, and sixth grade that met in that. And then those buildings were separate, and seventh and eighth grade met in the seventh and eighth grade. So you have a community out there also. And I saw these comments. Why we had the fifth grade in the intermediate, why do they need to be now in grade school? Because it was the intermediate. So for some reason, there is a concept that the intermediate school is like junior high. I don't know. But I think that's also something because you've got some of your parents now that are in their 40s that are looking at it. They were part of that intermediate schooling. And they're looking at it and they're going, well, this is ridiculous that we would move fifth graders because fourth, fifth, and sixth was all together. So you also have a mindset among, some of the 40 and 50-year-old adults out there that we did not reach. I saw that question mentioned several times. I don't know if any of you had kids that you're probably not old enough either.
I'm one of the few people have kids that went here and actually liked the experience with like the other percent. My kids enjoyed the extra classes.
In junior high.
Not localized that.
Yeah,
So I guess the real question is where do we go from here? I mean, we sit as is, I mean, it's broken, but meets minimum requirements. Don't think the minimum requirements are where I want to be. I mean, just because we have fifth grade in the middle school, that ain't the ideal. I got a fifth grader. I can tell you right now, my son Jet should not be in middle school. That kid, he is Captain ADHD and he struggles in being in middle school is not where, he's 10 years old. He should, and his mother and I, my ex-wife, have both had a handful of conversations about this and how he's not even close to ready for it. I don't know, Dee Dee, you probably know Jet, don't you? Yeah. And I mean, he's fairly high energy, but, so I guess what I'm, trying to figure out is how do we, in what way, shape, or form, strip fifth grade out? I mean, we can stand here and blame game, but let's look at moving forward a little bit. What do we do with fifth grade? How do we get it out of the middle school? That was the aim of this whole thing. And, we've got $20 million. We can build some sort of a school with still. Or Or do we just say, you know what, we're gonna turn this back, that is plausible, you know, not the ideal necessarily unless you're a taxpayer, but, I don't think it's best for the community, it's definitely not best for the schools, but what is the next step? And when I ask for ideas, the crazier the better. If I think you need a drug test, it's probably the one we're gonna go with, right? But seriously, what is our next step? What is our next, how do we do this? Do we, overload? Do we strip it out and overfill our current elementary schools, stick some modular schools out there and, do exactly what Frank's sitting here and, or do we build like concrete, ugly $20 million, it's a building for 20 million and, about as ugly as gray and functional as you can get out on our property and then, start the fourth elementary that way? Or do we, I've had thoughts about taking the old intermediate wing and making it back into an elementary school. I don't know if we can do that with the 20 million on the bond.
You couldn't, to be honest, you probably couldn't do it for the money, but also motion passed with the public was to build a new elementary
Mhm.
on new ground.
Yeah. Yep.
So you'd have to have a.
Yeah,
You'd have to immediately pass that.
basically, we're asking for another $20 million bond, which, yeah, but I'm not convinced we'd be able to get that through either. So what is plausible or doable?
I mean, I think there's a couple of pieces to this. One is the 20 million, right? That's sitting there and our need to do something with the property. It can be something little, so that is achievable. But that 20 million sits heavy, right? What do we do with that? I think the realization that at some point we will be building schools on that property and being able to pull utilities out there now when it's cheaper than it will be later would be great.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But we can't build a big enough school to achieve that goal of moving fifth grade back with the money that we have. So I think the 20 million is a question, and separate or together, what do we do instructionally for fifth graders is a question.
Yeah.
Right? And those can be two separate questions. I think that, we combine them by proposing, the proposal that we had. So we could continue with that proposal if we still believe that's the best one, but I'm sure there are other ideas out there too. I'm just saying that the 20 million and the fifth grade conundrum can be
And we
two
could-
separate.
And I think we should look at them as such, so we don't bind ourselves to a specific, approach. I think we do need to look at building because things are gonna just continue to get more expensive.
Mhm.
I don't know what that looks like at this point, but.
And remember, we're just brainstorming. There are no decisions that are made tonight. We just talk. So we can talk about anything and then we'll revisit it in a meeting where we would actually make some decisions.
My gut is take that nice, whether you make it again or not, pull the gym out of it. Run it again and increase it by whatever the cost of construction has escalated in the valley since we ran it last time. Because it costs more, people have to see that you're not, take 2 years to do this, it'd be increase every time. The ask is, we're asking for the same, but this is how it's gonna happen.
So when would you ask for that again? In the fall or right away? Right here, right away in May?
It's important, if it's important, why would we wait?
Mhm.
And we have to build something on that land.
Well.
We're close to our grace period, I believe. If we do not build the school, if we do not successfully pass a bond this round, we probably need to go with Little Will and.
Put up a chicken coop or something.
Skill or have cabin, throw a greenhouse on it,
Yeah.
and have to pay buildings, so we're doing something to meet
Yeah.
obligations of the
Yeah.
city. and that probably would have to come out of building reserve.
Could you explain that, Frank, to me?
Turn your
When we
mic
took,
on.
So when we purchased the land,
Yeah.
we didn't
Mhm.
purchase, but we have a perpetual right to use it forever, and eventually it'll probably get turned over. It's the same way we'll have the opportunity to buy it, like people leave Canyon Ferry cabins, that kind of thing, but we were under an obligation to build something for the school on that land within, I believe, 5 years, or else it was returned to the DNRC without us getting any money back.
Oh,
So.
So we didn't actually acquire it till 23, so
Okay.
we still have a couple, we still have a couple of years.
At some
before-
point-
Before we.
still,
build
we
it.
need to
It-
do
it-
something. I
But they
agree.
were very clear also, the guy that, with the DNRC, that throw a metal shed under and park a car under it and call it a shop, whatever, but they just need to meet the letter of the law, we need to put something on it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And at some point, we need a well over there, so at least it wouldn't be a waste of money to drill a well and do something with it.
Can we put
Aren't
power
we in
in?
municipal water out there, or wouldn't we be?
We
Does that
retained,
not be part of the utilities?
we retained irrigation rights for a well,
Oh, okay.
which we want to do because it's a lot cheaper way to
Yeah.
water.
Yeah, you could get a permit.
Yeah, irrigation well over there.
Yeah.
Yep.
My question is do we have to bring power in there and the city water in there? So would that all come out of that too? And would that be considered?
It was in the infrastructure costs of the bond that we just had.
And so would that be considered part of the doing something with the land if we brought the power out there, if we brought the city water in out there,
That's a good thought.
drilled the well? And then, I like your idea. Let's plant some grass out here. Let's make a practice field, or let's make a,
We have to put so much as a doghouse on it, don't we? Just have a structure of some sort?
I was gonna
Leroy,
say,
do you know the details on this at all?
let's put in a,
I'd have to.
I think we'd wanna,
Obviously, have to, it's something, we can't just let it sit with.
yeah, I think we would run it by DNRC. Like, is this
Yeah.
what you're asking for, right? Substantial enough to,
Yeah, DNRC just has to, they want us to have the ground, that's not the thing, it's just that we can't just let it sit as a wheat field for the next 30 years. Biggest is their thing. If we can demonstrate that we as a school district are doing something with it, so that when somebody says, hey, well, what about that property out there in Belgrade, they can say, the school's doing something with it and its long-term plan is, but and
Just checking the box.
yeah.
I think you need to run it again. I really do. Or else kind of discredits us.
I don't know how to, the thing that I don't know how to overcome is the negativity in this community towards our school district. And to fight that, like on social media, when I was reading comments, I was just like, you do not understand. What people are saying isn't true, but it's like it's perpetuated
You can,
by,
the board's too empathetic. People don't want to know. There was no lack of information this time. It was as digestible as it could be. Everybody did a really great job of being educated and out there.
that wanted to
People here
be.
don't want to pay any more property taxes. And,
All the
we're not
questions-
Bozeman.
We have frequently asked questions, which had covered every single
Yeah.
piece of information.
That's right.
You would need
Mhm.
to
That's right.
understand what was going on, but you have to read this stuff.
Yes, people didn't take the time.
No, they didn't take the time because they already made up their mind.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Got better.
That's actually what we had was pretty good for an off
Some
year.
of it was okay.
When it's literally two school questions, theoretically, it really wasn't that bad of a voter
Well, I
turnout.
think in a lot of ways, it's too bad we're doing mail-in ballots because people that really cared could come and vote, and then you'd have, that would make it a lot easier to pass things like that, but everybody gets a ballot, and they feel that their constitutional right to and they do, they have a right to do it. I know why we do it, but it definitely puts us at a disadvantage.
If you have if you have to take time out of your day and inconvenience yourself to go down to the polling place and vote, and you're just kind of an ambiguous, "Nyeh, no, you're not going to. If you have an investment in it, it's a different thing. But when it shows up at your mailbox and just, oh, heck no.
That's the way it is.
But yeah, that's what it is.
I was struck by how often people coming out of Albertsons simply said, I don't want more taxes. That was the defining answer. And often what they said is, oh, my kids aren't in school anymore.
Yeah.
Not my job. When I looked at the data, the 2,000 or so people who voted in favor of that, on what percentage of our school parents does that represent? Were we successful in capturing our customers?
I don't think we
And-
captured our own employees.
No.
No.
I agree, Frank.
And that's sad.
Well, we've had such a big change in tax.
Well, I think it comes down, yeah,
over the
again,
Last 2 or 3 years, and it's had a substantial impact
Yeah.
on almost everybody. Some people that are, on fixed incomes, this is really a big issue. Other people that have, they just have never seen these kind of increases before, and it just got them up in arms, and it was the same way on the last pass. I think your point about doing it again is a good point. I think we just have to keep pushing that forward and seeing, we can't really do, you couldn't really take the 20 million and do something with it because the public has said no. So we'd be really at odds with the people that voted us in if we were to do something like that. On the other side of that, I think you can make a case for doing something so you don't lose the land.
yeah, I think so too.
I thought I read something in the paper that the fire district is going to ask for more money as well, that they are
they're
using 5 years ago budget or something, and that they are going to also ask for more money in the upcoming election. I feel like I just read that.
Yeah, they have to because they've grown so much.
No, they're different. They're not funded like we are. We're voted a levy of a fixed dollar
Yeah.
amount and it's spread. They are not. You're taxed when a new house is built. That tax they also pay $1 if I'm currently paying $1. It isn't, like mine goes down to 99 cents.
Right,
So
no,
they're different.
yeah, no, I know that. I'm just saying, I know that from what the fire
That just
thing.
confuses the issue for both of us, so.
Oh, yes, is that they have so many more calls that they're running off of old budgets. So, and they've grown so much. That's why they're asking.
The theory though is they're running into more places but those more places are all paying the equal amount of tax that everybody was paying before. That's the difference.
Yeah,
I like to separate myself from them when people are asking questions because they actually do get more money when people move here.
yeah,
We do.
yeah,
not.
we do not. No, yeah, that's true.
Could you explain that one more time, Frank? I didn't quite hear all of that.
Okay,
So-
so if we there's 100 houses in our community.
Okay,
We're each paying, $100 a year. When that 101st house comes in, your school taxes, each house goes down to $99 a year.
Yeah.
right.
But the new house pays the same amount that you pay for
Okay.
the
To the
fire
fire.
and police.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So if each house pays $100 a year to the
Your
fire
number,
station.
yeah, you're not offset.
Thank you.
They gain $100.
Makes sense. I mean, that's the way ours should be too, honestly.
Right.
I thought that's what I gathered. but
Yeah,
I
it's the
wasn't
logical way it should be done.
Well, the other thing with them is when a house is built, they get money. We don't get money till a kid shows up at the front door.
Right.
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 And not all the houses that are being built,
Have kids.
have kids, or the kids, not all the kids that are
Right.
there come to our school.
Right.
No.
So.
I've asked a friend of mine that's on Central Valley Fire Board, and quite possibly he'll get back to me if he sees the message, and I'll have an answer for you if they're gonna run a bond bond or a levy this spring as well, if there's a ballot question for them.
Always kind of been opposite us, I think, haven't they? They do, we do it one,
Yeah.
they do it, but I think.
I don't know if you stack both of them on there, if it does either of us any favors, or if it just makes everybody twice as cranky.
Well,
We're not gonna get less votes.
Yeah.
No, but if we're gonna rerun this, do we try to do more outreach again with more focus? Do we try to do, like Joanne says, a few things on social media or a little thing in the paper each week? Just have a corner in the paper that says, for your information. And I think one of the things that should be told is what Rocky just said. We are a fiscally conservative school district. We run in the black in this district. We do our best to protect taxpayer monies. We manage your money responsibly. And if you have a complaint, call whatever, or email, or,
yeah, we're all here. I mean, that's what we're here for.
yeah,
We're, the board's here to
yeah,
respond to the public's concerns.
yeah.
I mean,
Call us, let us know where they are. Tell us where you feel like we are doing something wrong. I feel like when I tried to find out where we're wasting money, I never could get an answer.
No.
I feel like it's a flat statement that's just made.
There's a loud small group that screams very loudly, the gray in the swamp.
Mhm.
Yep.
When you're fortunate to find one on social media and can call them out, that helps. But there's just a group that will do that no matter what the election is. I mean, one guy, the last time we passed one, that was the loudest chirper on Facebook was from Washington State.
Dee Dee, I wonder, having been so active in the campaign, as you look back on it, are there things on a wish list? I wish we had done this. I wish we had done that. Because a lot of his points, I think, are really good strategic points about things we could do that might make a difference. My inclination, my view of how the board came to the decision, I think you made the right decision. On fifth graders in middle school, nobody in the country is arguing that's a great idea. Fifth graders stay in middle school when communities decide they want to cheap out on education. And we have many in the community who struggle financially, legitimately. So as I looked at it, I couldn't figure out whether we had been successful moving our staff and our parents to vote for us. For me, that ended up being a question mark. And if we didn't do that, then all of those people who came out of Albertson said no new taxes, or my kids are already in 8th grade, so I don't care. You're not going to transition those people into supporters
Right.
if we can't hold the people who are closest to us and get them to support. Do you have a sense of were we successful or not?
Well, I think we weren't because they didn't pass, right? Were we successful in creating the base of the ability to connect with people in our community in a better way? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was part of the work. Regardless of the outcome of the election, the goal was to make those connections. I was at the Belgrade Economic Forum, and one of our community partners came up to me and gave me his business card and said, give me a call. Let's have you come in and just talk to all the staff just about school funding. So they're reaching out to me saying, let's make opportunities for you to come, because I talked about that with people as I was going through. Like, we're going to keep coming back and talking about this because school funding is so complicated. You need to hear it a couple times before it starts to resonate, right? So did we build a foundation? Absolutely. Are we at the top of the mountain? Absolutely not. So there are a lot of things that we can add to what we've been doing to increase our communication with our community and to try to address some of the concerns that are out there or the catchphrases that we're hearing or things like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm working with our team. We have a whole list of different kinds of communications that we can start using or avenues that we can use to try to tackle some of those questions that people have. And that work should never stop. Bonds and levies, saying that again and again and again and again, that should never stop because it's so confusing to people and why we have to keep coming back and keep coming back and keep coming back.
So I guess my feeling about what direction do we go is, I think there is real risk in doing all of a sudden changing over, and now we can build something for the 20 million that's already been approved. Because it suggests that when you made the decision to ask for 6 million, you really didn't need it. And when I looked at where we were, it seemed to me that you'd made a good decision about the finance of that and about the outcomes educationally for children. So my inclination would be to go back and say, look, we were really serious. We need this. This wasn't on our wish list. This
Not a wish.
This
It's a
is
need.
on our need list.
Mm.
And
When is
then
the,
it's, can we do a better job of helping people to understand Montana's broken finance system for education and the ways in which we are dependent on the community to continue to fund even after you paid your taxes.
Dee Dee, when does the election have to be called by if we wanted to get it in the spring election? I know that date backed way up and I just can't remember what
Yeah,
Karen
it's
said.
in December. So we will call for a bond and levy election just to have it be called for.
Okay,
And then
then
you
we
can
can amend it
decide
from there.
later
All right.
what,
I just
whether
wanted
you
to-
want to run them or not.
I
what
just
you wanna
wanted
do.
to ask that question because
We have to have language, I think.
Yeah, You have time, but we'll have to call for it.
So
and-
we have to do a levy. Well, the last levy didn't pass, so we're gonna do another levy.
So, yeah, we have, Carrie and I just last week ran some preliminary numbers to take a look at what a levy would look like, right, to get us up to that 100%. And it would be probably a similar number to what we ran last year, somewhere between $100,000 and $200,000. Unless we want to take a look at, we have an opportunity that the legislature gave us because we live in a high-cost area, that we could levy an additional 6% that would go to employee housing stipends, right? Every employee gets the same thing. That would bring our total levy amount up to like 1.3 million if we did that.
But that's a non-voted levy?
No, it's a voted.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
like, what? Okay. I missed.
So we would definitely need to have support from our staff who would be the recipients of
That might be a
of
good one.
that.
too.
you know, I got a lot of feedback on that people did say they would vote to raise teacher pay, but they said they wouldn't vote for a new building. I did get a lot of that, which,
They didn't vote for
but
Yeah.
I did get that feedback now, whether or not, you know,
I don't know.
course, the question wasn't being asked, okay, hey, this is for teacher pay. Now that it's for teacher pay, all of a sudden, oh, well, you're taxing me too much, I'm sure, but
Well, you also
Give
get
them-
450 more people out campaigning for it when you have that.
touche. You know,
And that matters. It'd be nice if those same people campaigned for the school.
Yeah, that would be nice.
you know,
Did not seem to happen.
I don't know, do we ask
I
all
think
the
we did
questions?
spend time in the schools and, you know, tried to communicate to everybody and we didn't get, at least I don't remember any real serious pushback from the people that were in those meetings. Maybe they weren't all there, or maybe they just kept their mouth shut and didn't really want to say negative things. I'm not sure. I'm guessing that must be the case.
Having done this in many places, when the superintendent shows up, if you have a concern about something, you don't share that in the meeting.
So would our conversation be different if we didn't have the 20 million?
I think it's might be framed a little different next time, as in we only need 6 million more, we have 20, rather than we need authority to spend 26. I think I'd tell the true story. I think I would axe the gym off it. I'm the one that probably wants the gym more than anyone else in here. I coached for a long time and we need it, but nope. I think
Don't,
No.
don't.
just make it a singular
it s-
issue and it's about eighth grade getting, or fifth grade
Fifth
getting
grade
out
out
of
of-
middle school.
Right.
And that's your pitch. And then you have a couple other noise points on funding or whatever else that hopefully somebody, I like the 30-second TikTok, but man, I don't know how you distill it down. That was the problem last time, I think.
I think you know, maybe if we could get in front of social media now, I think that it would, you know, there's people that are gonna look at that and go, oh, yeah, bull, but you know, I don't know how to get in front of that. I don't know.
How
I
to make
mean,
it interesting.
billboards, you know, signs out. You know, if we put signs out, hey, vote yes for Belgrade kids, I don't know. And there's things that we as a district can't do that, you know, and we have what's that? Not a foundation. What is it, Dee Dee?
Yeah, so we have some interest in the community in developing a 501c3 that is a group that would support public education.
Make it Lincoln's for levies, Bozeman has.
Yes. So they're able to, you know,
Be nice.
talk about school funding in Montana, not from, you know, the superintendent who, you know, people
Mhm.
wonder, right? Like why, I'm saying things because I'm paid to say things or, you know,
Yeah.
versus a group of parents who get together and say, we support public education. This is how this is how funding works in Montana. Coming from a different perspective, right?
If it comes from outside the school,
Mhm.
I think there's a lot, you know, as you don't have anything to gain from. Not that, you know, any of us in here, other than, you know, the handful of school employees would have gained a blasted thing other than a name on a bronze plaque, you know. But, you know, they look at it as, oh, well, the school board's gonna, you know, like somehow we get something. No, we don't. I don't know how to explain that.
Well,
But yeah,
they-
if you got somebody that's not associated, affiliated, tied into the school, that's out there going, come on, guys, this is what this is about, I think it would have a lot more, at least maybe they would look at it a little more.
And they can do things like yard signs and,
Yeah.
you know, they're able to do different things and the school district is pretty limiting. Yeah.
Not care how the perception is.
Yeah.
You can
Right.
put up a sign that says vote yes for.
We
They
we can
can.
say vote, but we can't say vote yes.
Yeah, the hell you can't. You can say vote yes. She can actually, but she's not sure she can legally. But we can say whatever. We aren't employed by the school district.
Mhm.
There is no bounds on
I could
the
tell
five
people, please
libel
vote
or
for-
slander of what you can
Mm.
do to help it pass.
Okay.
It's, yeah,
Because
the teachers can't. It's kind of a weird mix.
Oh, the teachers can't.
No, any employee, we can't.
So they couldn't put a sign up in their yards that
No.
said.
Because
Well-
they support Belgrade schools.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
what they put up.
They can't say vote yes on whatever.
But their
They can,
husband
they
could.
can put up a yard sign in
House
their
could, yeah.
personal yard, yeah. We just can't put them on school
that says
property.
Vote yes.
Yeah.
for 6
Mhm.
million.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hi. So yeah, so there's, potentially some additional support and communication.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, the need hasn't gone away. So how do we meet it, I guess?
I think you gotta go right at it again, or else you discredit what we did last time.
Yeah,
I think so too.
I like the idea though of how you described that. Say, we have this 20 million. In order to build this building, we need this additional
Mhm.
6
mhm.
instead of, I
Also-
think that's a better idea.
Also, this comes fresh off the tax bill going down a little bit, and that might help.
Yeah.
That might
Yeah.
help.
yeah, unfortunately, the tax bills came out at the wrong, if the tax bills would have come out a month earlier, it would have done us. a
I
lot
don't think it would have swung it enough to matter.
No,
Made us feel a little less bad.
problem is I'm sitting here looking at my tax bill and, in 2019, 1791, 2024, 30,027, and everybody else is seeing that too. Of course, now, 2025, 2362, so I'm back in 2022 range, but how's that gonna react with, property? Although I think property values are slightly ticking down, so.
Yeah, but actually mine went up. But I think in general they go down.
I think they're, I think they're kind of at that plateau and.
Yeah, we held par pretty much.
Yeah, we went up, but our taxes did come down.
But how do we? I don't know. I guess I'm sitting here trying to figure out what's the,
Has anybody heard what the legislature, this is another topic of this, but has anybody heard what the legislation's talking about doing, any changes that they, anything come out of that work? I tried to get put my oars in the water there, but never got any response back from anybody there.
Rent a garden taxes?
Yeah.
You should talk to my husband. He's basically spent the last several months reviewing all the tax bills and legislation. He can explain it all to you.
Um,
About the
Asking
tax
about
stuff, just on the side.
How the tech, they're talking about alternative ways to approach this from a taxation, whether they stay with property taxes or whether they supplement that with something else, sales tax or
there's all sorts of
Rec
proposals
tax.
out there, but
whatever. And
Right,
I just haven't heard where they
live.
where they got to.
I think we'll, unfortunately, it'll take another, a year from now.
Mhm.
We'll have a lot better clue on that, but we don't know what legislature's gonna look like, through another. I mean, it's gonna get a little bit,
I'm just wondering what they're
Multiple.
thinking. I get what you're saying, but
Mhm.
What they've tossed around.
they haven't really worked on that.
Mm.
Maybe they've worked on it in the past, but they haven't worked on it recently.
have we heard anything, Dee Dee, from committees? Nothing?
No. No, not about that or the decennial study. There's, they're doing their work and there isn't a lot of communication about that right now because I think they're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
All right. Are there any other thoughts or ideas that anyone wants to share? Again, this is just a time to talk and there's no decisions that are made tonight. And so,
Some good stuff.
yeah.
I have some thoughts.
I'm listening, Leroy.
All right, some of these might be crazy.
Like 'em.
I think Dee Dee's question of what would we do if we didn't have the 20 million is a good question. And also how she framed of moving fifth graders out of the middle school and the 20 million that we have, maybe not necessarily the same question or the same thing. If, if we go back out for a bond to build this school, we accomplish the goal of getting fifth graders out of the middle school. No doubt about it. We wouldn't build that school and not put fifth graders or keep fifth graders in the middle school. And we've tried this a few times. And certainly we could go back out again in the spring for the same thing. And I totally see your point, Frank, of if we don't do it, then they're going to ask the question of, was it absolutely necessary? The thing that really gets me about this is in 2019, we went out for the bond and it passed for all this. And you look at our enrollment numbers and the trends that we had at that time, and it was skyrocketing. If that trend continued, we would be in portables right now. But that trend hasn't continued. It's actually done the opposite. COVID threw a wrench into everything. And if you look at the enrollment numbers over the past 5 years versus that trend, it's a completely different trend. And I don't think enough time has passed that that trend has actually established itself. But this year we were down, I think it was close to 10% over previous year. Is that?
Not that much.
Not that much. Okay. We had a meeting last week.
Lion, Leroy.
Right. That's why I said I think, not definitively. We had a meeting last week and we talked about a lot of different scenarios. We are this close to being able to put fifth grade in our current elementaries that we have without having to build another school. Problem is then we'd be bursting at the seams. And if that trend comes back, then we're out of space. So I think that's something to consider as well. Now we do have this $20 million that's unprecedented. It was set to build a school based on a trend that doesn't exist anymore. So we have some other options as well. We could just go back to the voters and tell them we don't need it. If we didn't spend that $20 million right now, we're not bursting at our seams. Our schools are fine. Thing that sucks about it though is fifth grade is still in the middle school. We also have the ability to go to the voters and say, can we use this money for something else? You guys voted to approve it. Times have changed. Things have changed. What if we do something in the middle school and we turn fifth grade we keep fifth graders in the middle school, but we section it in such a manner that they don't have to have the same daily routine as the sixth, seventh, and eighth graders, or there's some sort of a hybrid approach. If they're quarantined, if you will, essentially it's taught in the same way that an elementary school is, structured the same, their day is. There's a possibility as well. If we went back to the voters and said, all right, things have changed, not because we've changed our mind, but because things have, the factors are different. We take the $20 million and remodel the middle school, which out of all our schools is in the worst shape of them all. I mean, I just threw a couple million into it and it wasn't 20 million could turn that place into an amazing school that this community would probably be proud to send their middle schoolers to. And it's possible. It's not necessarily the easiest thing. But of course, from my perspective, I've been looking at that school for the last 4.5 years and metaphorically crying every time I walk through it, feeling sorry for these kids for having to deal with the worst deferred maintenance in this district. Even if we went back to the voters and said, all right, we don't need 20 million. Maybe you guys would approve us taking 10 million off and letting us use the other 10 for the middle school. Obviously there'd have to be some staffing changes. We have the ability to create an office if we had an administrative person down on the fifth grade wing. Then we'd have that. Fifth graders are still right where they are. But a lot of the reasons that people want to pull fifth graders out of the middle school could be accomplished and still keep the fifth graders in the middle school. The tough part about all of this idea is how do we get the voters to approve that and not have this, this idea of, would you guys make up your mind? Come on, school district.
I think that was what you just did.
Well,
That's what you would label. You sure need that to pass the first time or else. Come on, guys.
Yeah, certainly.
What are you gonna do next week? You're gonna
Yeah.
send everybody to Bozeman that's in the fifth grade? Busing's cheap. Let's do that.
I mean, I've had similar thoughts and, to take the 20 million if we could without going to the voters, and then I was looking at the language of it, which sucks because we put, we didn't think to write it. We could have wrote it and got it passed with like 3 words different completely. And been a lot more flexible with it now to do that very thing. I've had thoughts about taking that same intermediate school, 5th grade wing, the old section that you and I both know needs truly, and not a, level and rebuild, but windows and, big, a good overhaul. And then you'd have, all your schools very modern and, that would take care of a lot of the deferred maintenance as well as, getting us a nice facility. But I always had thoughts of actually making that 5th grade wing into a elementary, and then instead of, you're thinking just a satellite 5th grade? Dedicated 5th grade? And I guess my thought was just to make it a K-5 and that'd be your 4th elementary. I don't know if I'm wrong. That was my initial thought, but like I said, I'm sitting here listening to what everybody else has got and
I don't think that wing has the full capacity to be, I mean, it could be a K-5. I feel like that would even be tougher because while we have the ability to section off and keep 5th graders in that one section, it wouldn't be, I don't think that we could, maybe I'm wrong about this, fully guarantee that there would be 0 interaction between 5th graders and other grade levels as well.
Graders in that same wing with
No.
the 5th graders?
No, it's all 5th. The yellow and the orange hall is all 5th grade, all the way down. The toughest part about that is the library is smack dab in the center of it.
Yes.
Now, $20 million, we could
you could build a new library somewhere.
put a library elsewhere.
Well, where the music room is in the junior high, that was the library.
Correct.
In the junior high.
Yeah, back in the day.
I would be very cautious about that kind of shift in plans. It makes us look as if we have no clue what's important and that we're not behaving in an honest way with our neighbors. Frankly, I wasn't here for the vote, but I would have voted what you folks said. I think you got it right. And if you got it right last time, the voters said, we don't think you got it right. All right, that's nice. But if it was right last time, it probably hasn't shifted. And your hypothesis was everything is different, and I'm not sure that that's true. I couldn't make that argument to the community. I think there are trend lines. We don't know. 1 year is not generally accepted as a violation of the previous trend.
This isn't a
And
one-year
what they
trend.
look at is 3 years of data as a standard for looking at what the impact of enrollment is going to be.
Our trends of everything, and not just 1 year. It's, and it's not just the schools. Belgrade's growth, Belgrade's demographics, COVID blew everything. I mean.
And I'm
there's
willing to
something-
accept that. And then you made a decision that 5th graders should not be where they are.
Yeah,
And that was a good decision. We just have not been successful in communicating that to our neighbors. But the truth is, if you step away from that, I think you undermine our credibility.
That's my.
you suggest that voters who voted against the bond issue were on the right side of that issue. That we didn't know what was important and that we are willing to agree with them. It isn't important that fifth graders are in elementary. They can be any place. And I think it's dangerous when school boards step away from well thought out decisions. All it does is it makes us look like we really are not very thoughtful about what direction to go. And if we aren't, we are not supervising the superintendent and the assistant superintendents because they are going along with this as well. Their credibility is hooked to us.
Well, the other thing is if you took the 20 mil and you attach it to a new plan and the new plan fails.
Mhm.
Oof.
Then you lose it.
Zero money,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the,
zero approved money.
that's the.
And I'm thinking today, if I was to do this, I'd be betting on the other side if I was.
I'm not optimistic that we'd get.
The thing is in Belgrade, and I know I probably have beat this drum before, but having been in this school district for 30-some years, our trends fluctuate. And sometimes, for years, I was told every year, we're going AA, next year going AA, next year, your speech team's gonna be AA. You better be prepped for it. You do this, you're gonna go AA. And guess what? I didn't go AA. AA came on after I left. And so maybe we have a trend right now that goes, our school numbers don't look so good. But I look at the building going out on Jackrabbit. I look at some of the building going on in my neighborhood. And there's nothing that says to me that we're suddenly going to just go stagnant in Belgrade and this is going to level off.
There are
I
kids
think,
in
I
those
think
buildings.
that we will, I think we will continue to grow. Maybe it won't be in the next 2 years, but I think we have to look a little more futuristic. And I agree, I really agree with what Frank said in that let's take this back. Let's say here, you have approved us 20 million, but due to costs, we cannot build this for this 20 million you approved. Please help us, help our babies and please support us and give us 6 million to move forward. Because I don't think in the long run, we will regret that choice. I think that we will see that number come. I don't know that we're going to go AA in 2 years, but maybe.
Well, keep in mind, guys,
I
I'm-
like your thoughts.
I'm 100% on board. Obviously, we're going to grow. That's just an out of the box thought because
Your thoughts. I think it's something for good. It was good thoughts. There's nothing wrong with your thoughts, Leroy. They were good.
oh, thanks. Normally, I have to pay a counselor to tell me that.
All right, that was a great discussion. Does anybody have any final thoughts?
I'm actually glad Leroy came. Thank you for that, because, your 2 cents and you know these buildings and you know everything, better than we do.
Not me. I get to see enough of Leroy.
What?
I said, not me. I get to see enough of you. I'm dropping kids off. Spent years working with you at Oracle. Plenty of Leroy. I'm just kidding.
Whatever. It's fine.
Whatever, it's fine. You'll talk to your counselor about it later.
All right.
All right. Are there words I'm supposed to use?
Nope.
No.
Meeting
Oh.
adjourned and hit the gavel.
I guess that's everything. Meeting adjourned.